I'm planning on sending some cards to Ace Grading to get graded, and I want to take you guys through this experience and what cards I'm selecting, going through a bit of my collections that you guys can see what I had to choose from, and yeah, just have some fun with it. And then I'll do a follow-up video on what grades I actually get back on these cards. Now, I will say I'm not sponsored or anything like that by Ace, so if you guys have other card grading services that you prefer, by all means, go for it. This is not an advertisement for them so much as it is just for just for getting some cards graded and just having some fun with that. So um, it's going to take me through some of my binder. I mean, I have got a lot of Pokemon Go cards, and I was planning at some stage on like master setting it and everything like that. Now, I haven't ended up doing that. I find with my Pokemon collecting, I end up just getting a little bit distracted, and I start something and I don't always finish it. This is my Pikachu page. So a few different options here that I could have chosen. I didn't end up picking a Pikachu. I'll let you know what I've picked very, very soon, where I'll actually reveal those cards for you. But got a couple cards here. Leafeon from Crown Zenith here at the bottom, which you can just about see. Could have been a really good one. Um, what else have I got going on here that might be really worthwhile? Just a few random bits of my collection here. Now I've got a lot of celebrations and some evolutions, which I randomly found that I'd forgot that I had. So these are 2016 reprint evolutions, which is just cute to have. I've got a few Japanese cards from when I've been over to Japan. I've got a Charizard from 2016. It is heavily damaged, but I'm happy with it. I'm going to try and use some tech and see if I can, I don't know, get rid of the scratches, get rid of the creases, whatever, and see what I can do there. Also, I just love this Dragonite. I think it's beautiful. This is base though, I believe. This isn't evolutions. This is original. So what, fossil? But again, damaged. Maybe I can fix that up. I'm going to see. I might have to do a video on that and see if I can fix this up and turn it from a 15-pound card into something that might even be worth grading one day. That could be a fun video. Got a few of Gary's EVs. I love those cards. I really, really do. I think they're amazing. And then just a few miscellaneous here as well. Now, this is my Mega Attack. This is my prized possession, to be honest. I have the Mega Gengar and Mega Dragonite in Japanese both graded, so I do have the full complete collection of the Mega Attacks in English and Japanese. Kind of want to do a Korean completion as well, so I can have all 3 pages of each row, of each column, um, all of the same card, and it would all flow and match. I've started a Lopunny collection. Might finish it. We'll see. Haven't picked any of those. I've got my Kantos here. Well, my Series 1's there. And then I've started an Applin page and an Applin family tree. And then also a Japanese themed page as well, which I need to continue. I've got the Starmie that I love from Nihil Zero. And then I've started on some primes as well, which I think are great. Um, Now, pay close attention to this page, and you might be able to see what I might be grading in this submission here. I might end up sending off. No, I can't send off that Meowth. I can't send off that Meowth, unfortunately, because if you look at the centering on that, it is just pretty abysmal. Um, but there's a few things there here in binder number one. So binder number two. Again, I got a lot of commons in here. I think I'd started something and then I haven't actually ended up finishing it. And that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. Let's skip to some of the good bits. So, what have I got in here? I can't even remember. Okay. So, not too much there. Golden Rhydon's pretty cool. Love the Radiant Eevee. Tag team's pretty cool as well. I have some gems. Okay, I do have some gem twos. a great set to look into. Now, I've got all of the Gem 2 exclusives. Part of me does want to send one of these off. I think this Umbreon could come back looking really, really good. And you know what? We take a peek. I wasn't planning on doing this. Do we just take a peek at the Umbreon? Thing is, if I submit the Umbreon, I'm gonna want them all. You know, I'm gonna want them all submitted. Right. How are we looking on this? I mean, to be honest, centering does look pretty good. It looks like it's within 60-40. It's slightly heavier on the left and up top, but I think it's within the realm of in an acceptable margin. Edges look good. Corners look good. It's well rounded. It's rounded where it should be rounded. It's flat where it should be flat. Now surfacing, that's a bit more of where the gamble might come in there. But you know what? All right, fine. We'll add the Umbreon to the grading collection. I might leave the others for now, but maybe resubmit in future. Then I've got a few more evolutions there, and I think here we go. Okay, I've got a Venusaur from 151. I was wanting to send that off. I think I will send that off one day, but I'm not going to send it off right this minute. That looks really, really clean to me, and I'm really considering that, especially in English. I think the centering and everything looks great on it. I think that could be a really good 10 contender. And then a Pokemon Stamp Squirtle. Now, that's most of my collection. I do have one more folder, but to be honest, I think let's get into showing you guys what I plan on taking. Now, before I fully get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about grading itself and what you're sort of looking for, or what at least I'm looking for, and then just talking about just grading as a whole. Maybe as I flick through this last binder, maybe my weakest binder so far, but I think that when it comes to grading, PSA is the gold standard. That's where everybody goes to. That's what retains the most value, yada, yada, yada. But I really like using Ace. For £18, getting a card graded with an extended border art, I just think is such a good deal, such good value. I can get my cards back relatively quickly these days. And they're based here in the UK. So I just feel like it's a no-brainer for me to send to Ace. PSA right now are also in a little bit of, there's some shenanigans going on, and then some things happening that I'm personally not super thrilled by. So I'm just, debating with PSA. And £80 a card to get graded right now is the lowest submission. I'm just not going to go for that myself. Now, when it comes to the actual getting cards graded, the way things kind of work, and then there we go. We've got some Final Fantasy 14 Magic cards, huh? That's not too shabby there. But the way it goes with grading is you're aiming to get everything back at a 10. Anything lower than a 10 is it's basically the same price as if it was ungraded. That's the case of things with modern, because modern, I guess people just look after cards so much better now than they ever have historically, right? Remember when you used to run around on the playground with your Pokemon cards in your shorts pockets, getting sweaty, getting dirty. You wouldn't top load them, you would barely sleeve them, and it was just cards just degraded, I think, a little bit more back in the day than they do nowadays, where people can open something and then just immediately sleeve it up, load it up, and it's protected, so that's the state of things these days, where it's like modern 9 is equivalent to the base card, and then a 10 can sometimes really increase the value of those cards. But then with vintage, it's a little bit more like if you get a 7 or an 8, sometimes even a 6 in vintage can be worth more than the card at its base raw condition. So just some things to think about. But for me, when I chose my decision on what cards I wanted to submit, a little bit of it is just cards that I really, really like, and a little bit is cards that I think might do really well. And might get a good, either a good return, or I just think that they are a really cool thing to get graded. So let's go through some of it. So I'm going to start us off here. So I've added the Umbreon to the pile. Now, what have I got here? I have got, okay, I've started these a little bit, so I have already sort of put them in some semi-rigid. But hopefully you guys can at least see these somewhat. So I've got a Snorlax from 151 from the Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, the centering on this is fairly poor. And to be honest, I'm a little bit concerned on if it can even come back at a even a 9. I'm a little bit concerned about. But the corners look good. The corners look good. Oh, well, I should say the edges look decent, but it's a little bit um it's not curved enough, I feel. Down in this bottom right hand corner. The edges themselves, or the corners themselves, sorry, I think are okay. Again, they could probably do with being a little bit more rounded, but the surface is probably in really good condition because I've unpacked this myself and then put it in a binder. So we'll see how we go. I'm hoping if this comes back at 10, this is my biggest card that I could get graded successfully. These are really high in demand at a base so that people can grade them. Now, I do have a second one, and I'm just really hoping. I've got my fingers crossed. Centering isn't amazing on these. I did use an AI grading app, and they both came back as like 9.5s, and it said the centering was fine. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that, but let's see. We'll see what Ace ends up coming back with. The next card for me is, oh my goodness, this is probably my favorite card that I'm submitting, to be honest. It is a Charmander from Obsidian Flames, the ETB promo, non-Pokemon Center stamped. And I love it. I think it's such a great card. I think it would be really cute to actually have displayed. That's why I've gone for it, because I would just love to display it on a shelf. And centering looks a bit better than the Snorlax that I'm sending. And yeah, um, just wanted to talk a little bit about the cards and give you a heads up. But yeah, corners and edges and stuff I think all looks good, and then we'll just see how we go on the surface. There are some things you can do if your card is like, you can't do anything about centering, you can't do anything about edges and corners, but surface, sometimes cards can come back graded lower because it has a bad surface. But sometimes you can just clean them up and then resubmit them, or clean them up before you send them. If you see there's notable dirt, you can get that removed, because I don't believe that they will clean cards for you. But I could be wrong in that. So my next card, I guess my fifth card that I'm going to be submitting is Raikou from Crown Zenith. I think this card is fantastic. I really need to get the Suicune and the Entei as well, but the Raikou is my favorite of the three, and I packed this myself. So I'm set all these cards I'm submitting. Okay, not all of them. Not all of them I packed myself, but I'll get to those. But 90% of them I've packed myself. So I'm really, really happy with that. Um, and with the new Storm Emeralda or Delta Rain set, I think Raikou is going to get even more of a bump in interest. I just think you can't go wrong with the legendary dogs. Again, so centering looks great. The best card so far in terms of centering, maybe on par with the Umbreon. And yeah, edges and corners I was fairly happy with. I think it might come back. If it comes back a 9, it's like a 9.5. It's going to be close to a 10. But we'll see. So that's my strongest feeling right now. Something I will note on is actually the Umbreon is Chinese. It's a Chinese exclusive. So the thing with when submitting for grading, Chinese cards actually have better print quality than English. That's in the cornering, the edges, the surface, the centering. Like, it's all better. The texture on the card, everything is better in Chinese and Japanese compared to English. And English does really struggle when it comes to submitting for grading, because it's just not as good print quality as it is in Japan and with Chinese cards. So, or simplified Chinese cards, I should say. So it's harder to get 10s with English, you'll notice. But we're gonna give it a go, and I'll carry on now. I'll continue on with my quest. So my next card that I'm submitting for grading here is the Series 1 first illustration partner 30th anniversary organic grass fed. Actually, is Bulbasaur grass fed? Would that be cannibalism? I don't know. I don't know. But okay, so I actually have pulled 3 of these myself. In 4 boxes, I pulled 3 of these, of the Kantos. So I need to have a look and see if I actually have a better one of these than I can submit, but I'm absolutely going to be submitting one of the first partner series. You get it. I just think that they're really, really cool. I love that they have the art and stuff from the video game. Now, if you look really, really closely, you can see there's actually a Pikachu cameo. Maybe if my camera focuses enough. Oh, it's not going to like it. but there is a Pikachu cameo from Viridian Forest. You can see it. So really, really, really cool. And yeah, going to be submitting that again. I just think it's looking good in where it is. I love Gen 1. I love just the original games. I love the TV show. So you can see like quite a few of the Pokemon I'm submitting right now are Gen 1 or early Gen. So we're getting a theme here. Now, the next card I'm going to flick through quite quickly because it is just the second card in the first partner illustration series. So really quite cool. I do really love these. So I've got all of the series 1 Kanto starters. So I've also got the Squirtle there that I'm going to be submitting. Again, I think the Squirtle looks great. Best Squirtle that I've got here. But the Charmander and the Bulbasaur I'm a little bit concerned with, where I might want to swap them out for a slightly better one that has a higher chance of getting a 10. So we'll see how we go there. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't mind if these come back at 9s. I'm not in this for the profit. I'm in it for the love of the game. So I really don't mind if these come back as 9s. I'm just looking forward to the extended art and everything. And just the process of submitting is quite a fun process. So my next card is the Cubone from Gem 3. If you haven't had a look at this Cubone yet, it's Cubone 0407. It's a Chinese exclusive. One of the most beautiful cards in the world, to the point where I need to bring this out if I can. Oh, I'm really afraid. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to bring this out and I'm just going to show this off a little bit because it's such a beautiful card. It's the only happy Cubone in the world. Look how beautiful it is. Look how it shines. Just really nice. And again, with Chinese cards, the print quality is so good. I mean, the centering looks dead on. Edges and corners look really good. I think, if I'm going to submit anything, it's going to be Chinese. There is an over an 80% pop rate of ace tens in Chinese. Now, I'll get to my last card in just a second. Once I can get this in. There we go. That was scary. So I'll get to my last card that I'm going to be submitting now. If you've guessed it, congratulations. But it's going to be the Gengar from Gem 3. Again, very similar situation. I think the centering on it looks fantastic. Way better than the Meowth. Edges and corners look decent. The card itself, I think, is so cool. It's an exclusive. It's Gengar doing some psychic spells. I think it's just really, really cool. So, yeah, really excited to send this off and see how this comes back. And I think the extended art on it is going to look fantastic. So that's all of my cards that I'm going to be submitting for grading. I'm really happy with my selection. I'm concerned about the Snorlaxes. I'm concerned about the Charmander. Everything else, I think, is really good chance of coming back at a 10, or if not, a very high 9, and then we'll see how we go from there. But really happy with my selection. What do you think? Is there anything in my collection that you thought, dude, you had to have sent that? How could you not send that? Let me know. But yeah, we are, I'm part of Walker Armory. If you guys want, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe. It really helps us here get an English distribution as well. But then on top of that, come use our website, use my code CYBEAR for 5% off on our website, and come check out our eBay live streams. I'm live Monday to Friday in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening. So you can come check out our scheduled streams and just come get involved. We're having a lot of fun. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for part 2 when I get these back and we get to see what grades I ended up with.